morning, good evening, good afternoon, Earthlings on planet Earth, wherever you may be, and also aliens, because you never know. YouTube may well transmit to outer space, and we don't know who's listening. Sunday morning, Valentine Low. The moment of truth. Well, my video today is about a story that I vaguely recall back when Tony Blair, I think Tony Blair was the Prime Minister. Now, I'm sure some of you out there might remember this story, and there is relevance to this and Meghan Markle and the bullying allegations. Okay, I'm trying to look at the camera because I always look down at the buttons to see if it's still recording, but I am trying to look at the camera. Years ago, there was a story that was in the Times. Some allegation, I think it was against a Labour MP, I can't remember, and I'm pretty certain it was the Times. And the guy got all up in arms and he said, I'm going to sue the Times. I'm sure it was the Times. Now, the Times are lethal. They are a highly respected newspaper and they get things nailed down before they attack. And they really are. If you think the Daily Mail are bad or any of the others, be very careful of the Times. They're very sophisticated. Now, this guy got his lawyers and everything, and the Times were like, oh, so sorry, I'm sure we got it wrong, I'm sure you never said that. And I can't even remember what it was that he was supposed to have said, but it was something pretty bad. Anyway, about a week later, the Times went, I think we might have an audio recording of what you said. And the guy went, it was out, yeah, I did, but it was all taken out of context. Yeah, and I wasn't actually, I think he said I wasn't actually there, I wasn't actually with the people or something. I'm going to get my lawyers, they're going to sue you for this. And the Times went, oh, okay, if you say so. And then about a week later they went, did we say audio recording? We meant video recording. And the guy was finished. He was absolutely fucked. He had to resign immediately. They had to have a by-election. I'm sure it was the Labour Party. I mean, I could have got this wrong. Any of you out there remember this story? It was sort of around about, I don't know, towards the end of Tony Blair's premiership. Could have been Gordon Brown, but I'm pretty certain I remember it was when we were on Far Ben. Anyway, the point of my story is today, and this is just a hypothesis. I'm not saying anybody has done anything or making any allegations. But I remember a few years ago reading one of these, I can't remember if it was Quora or Reddit, it was one of those kind of social media posts, and it just popped up on Google. And the person was claiming, they were alleging, and I know people talk a lot of shit on social media and they could have been making it up, but I mean, they were pretty detailed about it, I put it that way. They alleged that there had been some tantrums and vases thrown in Buckingham Palace, and that some of the footmen or housemaids, as you know, we all have phones on us these days, had recorded these outbursts, at least that there were in existence at least 2 video recordings. Now, I'm sure I've mentioned this before. There was something about it that for me kind of rang true, but I'm not saying it is true, but it pricked my intrigue. Now, Valentine Low was the one who broke the story of the bullying, and classical times they allowed Meghan's lawyer to go out there and say absolutely not, but the lawyer was quite clever, saying, well, she didn't want to deny other people's experiences. Now he's written a book. And this has been a slow burner that no one was paying attention to. I mean, we were all paying attention to Tina Brown. We were all paying attention to Tom Bauer. Really, I knew Valentine was releasing a book, but I'd sort of forgotten about it largely. Well, it's all over the newspapers at the moment, isn't it? Now, I would imagine, well, I can imagine hypothetically, lawyers coming out of the woodwork and threatening, and that absolutely never happened. Well, be careful with that. If, on the off chance, any of Meghan's PR people or anybody on Harry's team who's their friend, tell them be careful with the Times, because the Times are quite well known for doing this sort of thing. And Valentine Low, I think, works for the Times or the Sunday Times, doesn't he? because when they go for it, it's a long, slow game, and they generally have the dynamite, and they will release the Kraken at a certain point, but not until they have exuded maximum humiliation. And I get the impression Valentine is enormously sympathetic with what he says are victims of bullying. His words, not mine. I don't know for sure. I have my own opinions of what I think. And that's coming from someone, I had an office job years ago, and there were a couple of female colleagues of mine who took great delight in bullying me in the workplace, which I know is hard to imagine, but I was quite a shrinking violet at that point in my life. That was after I'd moved to Hove from Lewis and finally got that psychotic creep off my back, and I'd had sort of 2 years of agoraphobia, so it was my first office job, and I just wanted to keep my head down and get on with it. And I'd never known anything like office politics, which is a whole different horrible ball game. If any of you ever out there have ever suffered office politics and bitchiness in the workplace, someone making a beeline for the office. Everything's under control here at the moment at Command Central. There's another aeroplane. Got stuck, I was late for work this morning because of 2 aeroplanes. In all fairness, one of them couldn't get in the first time, so we had to go around and have a second try. But yeah, I believe that's the game with the times. I could be wrong, but as I've said on many occasions before, with the Squidgygate tapes and the Camillagate tapes, and I won't go into the detail of them because, you know, it's all history and sordid, but apparently the press had them for years before they released them, so press don't just go off half-cocked, and certainly not the Times or the Sunday Times. I shall be watching that space. What do you guys think? You think the Times have got a double-barrel shotgun tucked away in the background, or perhaps a couple of Purdies